Hey guys, this is Poets by Jamie Lola Tallulah, and I wanted to show you another set of markers that I have received. I paid for these on my own, so this is not a sponsored video. The opinions are my own experience with them, and so forth. So these are OHUHU alcohol markers, and I previously got a smaller set, and now I got the big jumbo daddy. Now, I don't really need any more alcohol markers because I've done all the but I had to show you guys because you know I do love to color. So anyway, this is the 200 OHUHU marker set. It comes in this carry case, and it's sturdier than the other one I had. It has this little piece of packing paper in it. It has a swatch chart. Now, of course, this is on shiny paper and whatever, so you would actually want to do a swatch test on your own paper, typically what you use the most. And so I use 65-pound cardstock, so that's what I'll be doing swatches with when I do the video, but you get that. And there was this discount card. There is also back here, it's this thin kind of plastic that it says that you can use this behind your paper if you're coloring. So that I'll probably never use that, but there you go. So I wanted to show you that it has like a double lining. I don't know if you can see that very well. So you have this outer piece, and then you have this inside lining, and it's got like a cardboard inside it in addition to this shiny stuff. So that is an improvement over the last container that I had because it was just kind of loose and floppy. Also, these are compartmented. I don't know if you can see. You can really tell if you look at the markers, but in between, it's compartmentalized. So you have 6 compartments, and they're all sturdy, which makes this a lot easier to deal with. So that is an improvement over the smaller set as well. And I just look at all those markers. Don't they just make you happy? Look at that. I love it. I just love it. Here's your OHUHU marker. So it's an oval shape, which is snazzy. It does not, the marker cap doesn't fit on the other end. So that's kind of meh. I don't always stack mine anyway, but it does not stack. You've got your chisel tip. We can see that one. So they all have chisel tips, so not a big surprise there. Although this one looks kind of inky. And then you have your bullet nib, and it's got the little line here. Now, like I said in my previous video with the Arteza, it was kind of neat with the Arteza because this line here was the same color as the cap, but in OHUHU markers, they are not. It's just that gray. So there is your bullet nib. Okay, so let's go ahead and put down a little line here. So there's your bullet nib. And here is your, ooh, I like that color. Here is your chisel end. And as you can see, they're juicy because look at that. And alcohol markers always bleed through unless you have some really thick paper, so that's nothing new. So let's take another color in the same family. Now this is further down because it's a 85. They do not have color names, so if you're looking for color names, they don't have them. They just have numbers, and yeah, I don't know why they are numbered the way they are, but that's what they do. So I'm going to put a little mark here, see how that blends out. So you can see that. And that's with the bullet nib. And then we can put on the chisel tip. what those two look like with those. Let's see if we can find another one. Let's go with, do we have another 80 something? Let's try an 82. I don't know what this is going to look like, but here we go. 82. We'll go to bullet nib and chisel. So hopefully you can see that and so forth. So, okay, so we're going to move into the second portion of this. So I have to say, just before we get started, that I love these OHUHU markers. I went ahead and swatched all 200. And as you can see, there's a variety of colors. Now, what I do feel like is that they went a little overboard with the grays. And I would have liked to have some more over in the orange colors and some more, not so much these, because these are like teal greens, but some more of the like really like green colors. Now they did put in these other numbers here, so it gives you a variety of like flesh tones or pale peaches and so forth, and so you can mix them up. But I did that. Okay, then they give you some fluorescents down here. And also there is the colorless blender and the black. So the black is actually 120. They give it a number, 120. So as you can see, these are all lovely. I think they're pretty juicy for the most part. The tips are pretty decent. The chisel tips are they're the juiciest part. And so that. Then I wanted to go ahead and show you some completed images. Now, these are not, I colored these, but these are, you know, other brands and so forth. So you've got Crafter's Companion. You've got some Mama Elephant. You've got some MFT. So as you can see, they color nicely. There's some. Little bear. Okay, some of theirs. All right, so those are finished images. And I just wanted you to see the finished product, and then I'm gonna color an image for you. Several people probably do not know, because I have a lot of new subscribers in comparison to when I was actually actively publishing my digital images, but I also draw, so I thought I would show you some of those. And so this is actually 2 of my images put together. And here, another 2 of my images put together. There's this one. And I have several. And there's several people that were on my design teams and so forth. So, hey, definitely check those out. And if you have any of my digital images, definitely use some and tag me in it. So my princess. I've got my Davina, my Mimsy Mumsy. This one. This one. My Frankie, my little swimming girl. This here. And so I decided that I was going to color these other images for you. So we're going to work on my circus fella. Isn't he cute? His little mustache. And my little fairy. So I'm going to start with the fairy, because though I can show you this in comparison to the Spectrum Noir one that I just showed you. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started. I'm going to pull out colors, I believe 145, 146, and 147. And these are just wonderful. So I'm going to start with the skin and use the lighter color. And these work wonderfully. And I'm taking this from a crafter's perspective versus someone who does, you know, like large art pieces and so forth. Because as crafters, we tend to do smaller bits. So we do colored images. Sometimes we may do some larger mixed media pieces. But in general, since we are crafters and the items that we do are so much smaller than a whole page, these markers help fulfill that niche, I want to say. They're just fabulous. So it makes it easy to do some coloring with these images and so forth. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using these colors to get the skin tones. And since they do have a wide variety of them in this pack, it's wonderful. Okay, next I wanted to pull out some of the purpley colors. So I believe it's an 81, an 82, an 83, and an 87 to fill in the heart. Here I'm going to start with the lighter of the colors. And notice that I am moving the paper around as I go. That is the best way to get your image to flow properly, get it to work, and to be comfortable when you work on it. If you can turn your page or turn your work so that it's comfortable, it makes it a lot easier to do the coloring. And as you see, I'm filling this in. And then I'll go in with another color to darken it up in areas. I have to say, I love these juicy purples in here. I wish this set had a few more really juicy colors. Then I go in with another color. And using the chisel tip helps fill in larger areas. But you can also use the edge of it or the point of it to get into the fine areas, such as between her wings, between the flower petals, and so forth. And then when you pick it back to the wide side of the brush, I don't want to say the brush, the chisel, it helps you to fill in the larger spaces. So then I'm taking this other lighter color and I'm going on the edge so it has like a dimensional look to it. And you can't forget the little pieces. Then I went into the BGs, which are the blue grays. And I wanted her wing to come out a little see-through-ish, so forth. So we're using these colors. And I believe this is a BG3. And it was slightly a little bit darker than I wanted to. So then later on, I'm going to go back and add a BG1 into that. I just love this look. It's so cute. Then you have to do the outside of the wings as well. Here I'm adding a darker one, which is I believe is a BG7 or a BG5, to go back and add some darker details. Now at that corner there, I was showing how even though I've made this big swatch, which you can see in the background by my hand at the top of the screen, I still go and do swatches or little dabs on the side so that I can tell if the colors are going to mix together the way I want them to. So then I go back in and do the edge. Now here I'm also talking about bleed through. So it is important to note that alcohol markers, unless you're using like really, really high grade marker paper, will bleed. So a way to counteract that is if you color just slightly in front of the line, that helps. Okay, so we're going to go down here and color some of these flowers. And there's no need to be overly precise in some areas, like these flowers, because of the way they're constructed. At the same time, you could go back and be very specific with each petal. And I was trying to decide what I wanted to do for her dress. And so I went with a 121, 24, 125, and a 122. And then I also wanted to pull that color up into the wing so it didn't just seem like yellow by itself. So that's something else, as another tip for coloring, and then particularly with alcohol markers, because they have that transparent look, you can take another color and go over it, which is fabulous. I don't think I mentioned what paper I'm using, and in this case I'm using a 65-pound white cardstock, and it's either from Doris or it's a Recollections. I can't remember which one it is. And I just wanted to make the comment here that you do not need to have fancy markers and fancy, extremely expensive paper or extremely expensive Copic markers to be able to do this coloring. All right, so here I'm using hair colors, and I wanted to have a different color, so I'm using the BGs again. And then I believe I went in with a 179. So yes, just know that you can use whatever you have. You don't have to worry about overly expensive stuff. So let me go ahead and go with these markers. So number one, I love the tips. I don't think it's necessary to have a brush nib, but other people, they like them, but I don't think that's necessarily the end all be all. You can mix them well. I think they work well, and it's a 200 pack for $89.99. So we might say $90. It's a fabulous deal, and it's definitely worth the money. And so here, that was the final image. My final thoughts are that definitely these are fabulous markers for the price, and you can't really go wrong. The cons, so you can see these other images that were colored. So fabulous. Awesome sauce. And then here's my image before, which is this one. So obviously they're different colors, but you can still see that they are fabulous. So there is my review of the OHUHU markers, and I hope you enjoy this. And if you'd like to see another one, let me know. If you're interested to see more color videos, you can let me know. Also, I have 2 more marker sets to review for you. All right, thanks for watching.